Okay, so I want to do a tutorial on baking some skin meshes together while preserving blend shapes. I'm going to use MeshBaker for the mesh baking and texture atlasing, and then LipSyncPro for the facial animation. I've got two characters that I created in Fuse, and by default Fuse doesn't combine everything, although there is an option if you go into the preferences for it to do that for you. By default it doesn't, and so you get all these different body parts, and I've got different shaders on the different parts of the eyelashes. I'm using a transparent shader with material which I'll want to preserve, and similarly the hair on this character uses a custom shader, so I want to keep those, as well as the blend shapes. So MeshBaker stuff, create other, MeshBaker, texture and MeshBaker for that characters, and you just open the tools, search for meshes, select your meshes, and then just add selected to mesh. Add selected meshes to target rather. Keep an eye on the console. With MeshBaker it's got some useful information. It tells you what's going on. So we've added 15 objects to combine, and I mentioned about the different materials, so I want to keep those. The blend shapes, by the way, are in here. So on each of the skin meshes, so body, eyelashes has them as well, because as you're moving your face, your eyelashes are going to move as well. And on these models who've got teeth separately, they've got a subset of the full blend shape by the Mixamo blend shapes preset. So jaw down, mouth open, tongue up, they're in here as well. You know, jaw down, mouth open, there it is, and tongue up somewhere in here. So we want to keep all of those together. That's kind of key to what I want to show today, is how you can bake all of those together and still target them individually. So multiple combined materials ticked, build source. Actually no, first I need to create my asset for the combined. So characters, baker. And now I can build the source combined objects. So I've noticed that one of the body mats is separate to the other one, but that's an extra draw call. That's two different materials, two different sub meshes. I really don't want that. I've learned through experience, so that's due to this split atlases. If textures don't fit, it's kind of essentially trying to, they're quite large textures, and it reckons it can't fit them both, but I can force it to fit based on these settings here. So I'm gonna untick that and delete all these materials, and I go into I'm just going to tidy up after myself. I don't want these to turn up, because they're going to be recreated now that I press this. So I've unticked split atlases. Now I've only got 3 materials. That's what I'm wanting, so that's good. So one material is for the kind of base bodies, one's for the transparent eyelashes, and one's for that hair material. Okay, that's all good. You can play around with these settings. We'll see what we get back when we actually do the texture atlasing. For now I think the defaults are fine, and yeah, let's bake those materials. This process takes quite a long time, so I'll probably pause the video and come back when it's done. Okay, pretty much 5 minutes later, created atlases, and read through the report if you want to, but I've got no errors, so I'm a happy man. It's got one warning which I should probably turn on. Packing exceeded shrinking to. So I'd recommend keep an eye on these. So it's kind of done its best. I'm happy enough, to be honest, for what I'm doing. I'm going to actually keep them fairly small later on anyway. So I've got my textures and I'm ready to do my mesh combine. So I definitely wanted to do the blend shapes, and it's obviously got to be a skin mesh renderer. I personally not had much luck baking into prefab with skin meshes. They tend to disappear on me. I know there are workarounds, but for my workflow I tend to optimize per scene, so I actually just want to combine all the characters within my scenes. I don't need to make individual prefabs for reuse, so I'm gonna stick with that and do just bake all child mesh bakers. So double check the settings. Yeah, that's fine. Include blend shapes, skin mesh renderer. I'm not bothered about light mapping. Some people I've heard say don't optimize after bakes if your meshes were really well topologized in the first place. I'm not sure how good Fuse is, so I've not had any problems leaving it ticked on. So let's bake those. Now you see your combined meshes is turned up, and you can disable the renderers on all child meshes. It's kind of a bit weird, it's hard to tell that anything's happened, but if you select one of these, see now it's disabled. And there were the original blend shapes. If you look now at this mesh, they've got all of those, but, and this is the important bit, is it's going to combine all the blend shapes for each of those. So there's body 1, eyelashes 2, teeth 3, and then the same again, body, eyelashes, teeth, and that's what these suffixes are, 5168. So I'm going to write these down because I'm going to need them in a second. So I've got 5168, and then it moves to 5234, and then 5176, so 5176, then there's 5202. There's only 3 of them. They're the teeth. Remember I showed you it was just a subset. So 5202. And straight on to 5556. So 5202 is the jaw. So 5556. Then it goes to 5462. Five, 534, and right at the end 5466. So I've got, actually I said 3 sets, but there must be another one. See the eyes, the body. Let's have a look. body, definitely eyelashes. The eyes have them as well. I didn't realise. So the eyes are using, weirdly enough, have some blend shapes on them. So our set is, that's the first character, that's the second character, and with these suffixes, and we will use these in a second. So you don't delete these because they've got your rig, which is linked to this, and obviously you've got your animator and any other scripts that you're using. I guess at this stage it's a good idea just to check that your animations are still working. So I'm just going to do that quickly. It's going to be a little bit difficult because it's a VR project, so I need to hold my headset. Our animations are working fine, and just to kind of show you what's going on, so we've got out of game view, we've got just a combined skin mesh linked individually to each of these rigs, and each rig is being driven by just a default animator, which is not doing anything special. It's just looping through an animation, but it's just to make sure that the link between the rig and the skin mesh is still intact, and that's fine. Now you can see we now need to make sense of this very long list of blend shapes that MeshBaker has added the suffixes to. So let's get that done. So we need to add LipSyncPro, and we're using an advanced blend shape system. And when you add LipSyncPro, it adds the blend shape manager. Now this is the bit that will allow us to make sense of that list with the suffixes. I've altered the script a little bit. I'm hoping the developer will allow me to share my modifications. Obviously I don't want to share his code base without his permission, but pretty much all I'm doing is creating an array and entering the suffixes for each character. I'll do that very quickly. So this is the dad character. It takes in your skin mesh, you add it. Now when you click on build from names, by default what this manager does is it iterates through the skin mesh, the blend shapes it finds on the skin mesh, and then just creates a dictionary based on names. Build from names, it does exactly what it says. So if names are matching across, so usually you would just use it, say you do your body, eyes, eyelashes and teeth would all be added separately. In here you would add each one individually. You'd go like body, add eyelashes, add teeth, add, and then you would build from names, and it would notice that they're all named the same on each of these individual, but we're not using these. We're using the ones on here which have been renamed. So what I've done by creating this array is it's just going to, as it iterates, if it finds these and matches these strings, essentially it'll remove the string and add them, and if they don't match, i.e. if they're part of this set, it'll just ignore them. So add and build from names. You see there's 306 blend shapes to start with. Build from names gives us a dictionary that's 50 in size, and it's going to pick up the relevant ones at index 0, at index 50, and at index 100. They're all on the same mesh, but they're the different indices, the different blend shapes, and they all share. So that will be blink left dash 5168, blink left dash 5234, blink left dash 5176. I remember the last one is the teeth, which is only the like the mouth and jaw. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. You don't really have to get into the details, thankfully. Once you've got this modification, you just enter the suffixes and it'll do it all for you. So now that we've got our dictionary of 50, we can just use the built-in presets which use those names. That's the point of the preset, is it knows what mixer modes name these blend shapes. So smile left, not smile left, dash and a number. Hopefully that's pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to do the same on this one, advanced blend shapes, just to make sure that, so I'm using the same skin mesh. Actually, I need to do this first, but I'm using the other suffixes. I'm using this one. And finally, that's the skin mesh. I'm going to add it. I've got my suffixes built from names. Again, it's gone from 300 odd down to a dictionary of 50. And now that I've got that dictionary, I can call in the LipSyncPro preset. The only thing that's kind of missing now, I guess I need to do my usual LipSync Pro setup, which is throw in the audio source. Got to do it on this as well. Close that, and I'm just gonna add a very basic player. So I'm going to do it on the DAD first. So it's looking for the lip sync component, and I need to give it like a lip sync data. That'll do. And so we should be okay. You can see it's whether we go out of. Should probably loop it. I think I can loop it. Yeah, loop clip. Make it better. Just so that you see it properly. Which I'm gonna move my game so it doesn't get in the way. Okay. So we got the lip sync working on him, but it's not affecting his blend shapes. So what we can do is I just copy the lip sync player onto that character, paste component as you know. Obviously this is still referencing the other guy, so I've got to change the reference over. Should unmute audio. I'll just mute audio so you can hear me. You can see, so his is talking and his is talking. Oh, his is not looped. Ha ha ha. Let's do that loop. Okay, so lip sync, and I can go individually and turn that one off for now. So you can see this whole essentially the magic happens in the blend shape manager, and the fact that we've been able to go from this long list of blend shapes that MeshBaker has added suffixes, just so that, I mean, you kind of want that to happen because you want to keep all of the blend shapes individually. So for this mesh and for that mesh, they should be separate, but we've been able to target them individually using the dictionary that the blend shape manager creates. I hope that's kind of helpful. It's a good optimization because it means that now we've got a single skin mesh, We've combined the textures into just 3 materials, and we're still able to target their individual blend shapes. I hope that's useful.